Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday, June 17th council meeting. This is a hybrid meeting, so we do have people online as well as people in the audience here. So I'm going to call the meeting to order, and I'm going to start off the land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen is located on the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations, which includes Curb Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Rama, Beausoleil, and Georgina Island First Nations. The Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen respectfully acknowledges that the Williams Treaties First Nations are the stewards and caretakers of the lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. I'm going to move into a moment of silent reflection for council and staff to quietly reflect on our duty to the community that we represent. Thank you. So, I'm going to ask everyone to make sure your cell phones are off or placed on vibrate so it doesn't disturb the meeting. And remind council of declaration of consumer interest if it arises. We have minutes here from the regular council meeting of June 3rd. Called in order of the motion that we received those. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Clement. All in favor, and that's carried. And we do have Councillor Doherty online. Anyways, we're going to move right into delegations and presentations. And the first delegation here is Doug Sakoshia and Pat Schick with Fuel, Pat with Fuel and Doug with the County of Peterborough. So welcome, guys.
So good morning, Mayor Martin, members of council. The focus of today is just, as you're aware, we're doing some reconstruction works on County Road 48. Provide a general oversight overview, works to date, and work as
you push the button on that mic there just to talk.
Oh, yeah, there you go. There we go. I turned it off. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I was deliberate. So as I was saying, the focus of today is to provide a general oversight of County Road 48, kind of the works that have transpired, progressed thus far, where we're at today, and where we're looking at tomorrow and into the near future here. So County Road 48, as you're aware, commenced last year. The contractor started down on George Street Park. The first phase took us from George Street Park up to Victoria Street. The works entailed full reconstruction, which was the replacement of the underground infrastructure, being sanitary sewers, stormwater, water mains, and then the streetscape improvements, which installed new concrete curbing, new sidewalks on both sides, and an asphalt wearing surface. So here's kind of just a general oversight of the post-construction works of last year. A lot of the improvements that took place, there was some private residential retaining walls, so they've been all improved. And then here you can see just a linear shot down the road as a before and after. The works continue throughout the summer as things begin to button up for the year. Once we got into the area of Victoria Street, there was some, groundwater concerns that hindered the production. So the contractor, once they, were ready to demobilize the site, in preparation in advance of works moving into 2025. There was some exploratory digs to verify some of the existing communication lines, and more importantly, looking at water level steps versus pre-engineering reports that they had on file versus what was actually being, I guess, encountered during the construction and what they were witnessing and having to try to control. So that kind of put a close to 2024. We had our first pre-construction startup meeting earlier this year, just in the spring, and the contractor remobilized to the site to carry on and recommence activities. The works for 2025 had them continue from the Victoria Street and progress westerly into to Oak Street. Again, based on some of their pre-startup activities, they noticed that the groundwater was at a higher level than what was maybe encountered or expected, I guess you could say. So they proposed to bring some preemptive control measures to the site to help facilitate the works, keep in with their schedule, and just to generally allow the works to commence. So basically what the contractor presented and has implemented to help with their works here is what's referred to as a dewatering well point. Essentially what they've done in advance of the areas that they're working, they've installed linear, or I guess tall cylindrical tubing. It extends into the ground surface, and it allows them to pump ahead of their installations to help facilitate and help control the trench works that they're immediately within. What was encountered is just I'll say the rate that the water was coming into the trench when they were working. They were having a hard time maintaining and controlling, and it was causing an unstable slope sides to the areas where they were working as well. So this here kind of just gives an example, an illustrative point of view of what these well points would be. What was the proposal by the contractor was to implement, I guess, on an as needed basis. What the program had originally called for is an approximate 25-meter intervals upstream where they will be working would be to install one of these devices. The cost that they had proposed was a costing of approximately $7,180 per well unit. Based on the breakdown that the contractor has presented, it's essentially their direct costs. So there's not much in the way of overhead and profit in that. That's just an installation cost to facilitate their installations, productivity, and to keep things moving at a decent pace, safe levels. In addition, I guess, to the general overview, one of the prime reasons that we are here today is to seek some additional costs with respect to the contract. Essentially, with the way the contract is broke down, it's a 50, not quite 50-50, but it's a split contract, being with the county of Peterborough and the township of Havelock, each party being responsible for a certain portion or certain components of the project. In this case here, albeit it might be a little bit hard to read, is the well points would be a 50-50 split with the township and the county, with the exception of the works on Quebec Street being south of Ontario. All of that infrastructure in that small half block is 100% county owned, or sorry, township owned. County is the shares on the north side. So just as a general breakdown, in kind of per block phase, you're looking at George Street, Oak to Victoria, based on the 25-meter incremental sections, where it would be proposed to do 8 well installations. Similarly, in the Quebec area, there'd be another 10 well installations. once you, I guess, add everything up and look at it, the costs that would be proportionally allocated to each party, being the township and the county, is the township would be have a cost share of approximately $86,160, and the township would have a cost share of approximately $64,620. We're hoping that would be an upset. Right now, I guess as we're currently standing here, the works that have transpired to date, as you're aware, kind of May was a wet month. Based on what our projection was in the area that we're currently under construction between Oak and Victoria, there was a forecast of 8 wells to be implemented. We were able to get by with the installation of 5 wells. So the figures that I just kind of transposed would kind of be an upset. We have, in fact, reduced that already to $21,000 proportional. What I've included here, just as in case you haven't been able to attend the site, is just some kind of construction photos thus far to date, kind of what's being encountered. The project is, I don't want to say, but what's the unique feature is the storm sewer on this project. It's a large diameter storm sewer. Typically, you have piping in the range of 300 millimeters or 1 feet to 2 feet. The system here, it's upwards of a 5-foot diameter. So it's impacting other infrastructure, communication lines, et cetera. And again, it's hard to see, but in the bottom of the trench, there's a small amount of water, but the idea was to show you, I guess, where infrastructure is being placed and the control of the groundwater is being implemented. In addition to, I guess, the underground infrastructure, obviously the roadway is bordered by businesses, residences. Access here has been provided, to the residents. So, we're facilitating the neighboring properties to the best we can, knowing that the road is, I don't want to say completely off limits, but it's fairly off limits for vehicular traffic. Here's some rerouting to the post office was done via the back quarter, which I think has gone well thus far today. So this here is, I guess, an illustrative example of the dewatering or the well point that I was referring to that we're here today. The first step that lost connection. The first step that the contractor goes through is essentially excavates a small square hole within the ground. Here in this case, the black tubing is a back truck, that cylindrical. Yeah. Know what's happening. So it's just a photograph of what the illustration had described before.
Our internet's acting up this morning.
Is that what it is? Yeah. Okay. And again, similarly, this is the installation of one of the well points. Yeah, same thing. It's hard to see, but there's one of the well points being active, where they're now pumping out of the top end of it upstream and ahead of our operations or their operations. And here, similar to the first photograph, just an illustration of kind of the works that are occurring on site and the effect that I guess the dewatering upstream is having. I should have maybe included one from last year, but typically the individuals that were in the trench were standing probably knee deep in water. Here it's been able to be controlled. And again, I go back to as I mentioned before, the works here started in the spring, right after the winter melt, and May was a wet month. So we're feeling very confident that the system that's been implemented is working. There's a better example of kind of the works that are occurring, kind of just common, typical construction issues now that the contractor deals with, instant free. And again, similarly. Now moving. So based on the program, the contractor currently is within the block of Oak to Victoria. Then I mentioned as I mentioned before, with the large infrastructure, the project required some, I guess, rerouting of the infrastructure. So the next phase, or I guess the next zone of work, is once the contractor's moved out of the Quebec to Victoria, it'll be completely refinished the way that you see the 2024 works, new asphalt, curb, gutter. But the work requires basically to jump a block further west and do the works on Quebec Street. As the large diameter storm sewer goes in I'll say the business core, it impacts the way the service laterals from the buildings of the sanitary sewer come out. So we've had to kind of reshuffle the flows as they used to head east. We've now brought them west to come down Quebec. So there's a requirement now to jump, once they're done the work that they're at, to jump into Quebec, and Quebec will be the works that'll close out 2025. Based on the way things are progressed and situated in the field, that would put I guess the business block of Quebec to Oak being as a 2026 calendar year works program. So I guess just in closing, ahead of questions or such, would be the project team's recommendation for council to accept the update as provided today. Similarly, be recommended to accept the updated progress schedule and the updated works program, and that council consider and approve an additional project funding to facilitate the well points as outlined, in the amount of an upset limit currently of $86,160.
Okay, thank you. Or open up to council. I just want to ask, we normally have a contingency fund there for things like that. Is that been used?
Yeah, so Mr. Mayor, the way that the project was set up is in the contract, it's a line item contract. So sidewalks are an item, asphalt's an item. I'm sometimes hesitant to include an actual line item that says contingency, because it kind of leaves it open that there's maybe available funds. The way that the contract is there's certain items thus far that were implemented to be a contingent item. So a couple examples that I can think of is we've allocated costs or resources for the removal of rock. To date, we've used a small fraction of rock, and based on what we're seeing, and even in the pre-engineering reports, we're not anticipating encountering that. So I guess best way to answer that question is there is not a specific line item in the contract under contingencies. There would be some additional maybe quantities or some items that could be utilized as to help offset, but they would be contingent items.
Okay.
Go ahead, through. Thank you. Just to continue on that, that was kind of where I was going with that. And so the way you explain it, so what is the contingency fee for then? So if it doesn't cover, like you said, line items,
Yep.
what do we put the contingency in there for? What is it covering? Is it covering engineering costs? Is it covering, what's it covering?
Yeah, so I guess
Rock is material to me,
yeah,
right? It's a line item. Should, or to me, rock is a line item, is it not?
that's correct, yeah. So the like a rock excavation that we do have, we have it in currently in the contract as a specific line item. Out of all the line items, there wouldn't be a specific line item that says contingency.
So how do you apply it though, is what I'm getting at. Like we put the money there as contingency. Do you get to decide what it goes to? Like, or?
No.
If I may, yeah, through you, Mayor. Through you, Mayor. So often you'll have outside of the contract itself, and I think that's what Pat's referring to, having a contingency item in our contract. The county up doing that as well, because it adheres to the contractor that you'll have monies available for extras. So often what you'll do at municipal levels outside of the contract in your budget, you would set aside a contingency. So I can say in this case, at the county level, we do have monies available that can only be used when staff allocated through a change order. So it has to be approved by staff to say to use that contingency amount. I believe though, in this case, at the township level, when it got awarded, it was over and above what the estimate was. So there was no opportunity to include some contingency at that time in the actual project account. So that would just be the difference, is there's no pool of money for contingency in this case for the township to be able to allocate to say, hey, in this, we recognize there's some extra to use for that. Where Pat referring is specific items that are contingent, but those are more on a line by line item. So you would say, hey, we might not use that full amount. So there could be savings overall that might offset the increase today.
So the rock thing there wasn't necessarily gravel. It's like if they have to excavate a rock out of the and.
Oh, I understand, but
Yeah.
my whole thing is whatever the contingency was, I wish I had the numbers here. I apologize for not having them here, but we committed something like $2 million to this. To me, the contingency was 10 or 15%, right? So that's $300,000. What does that money get applied to? Or what could it be applied to? Because I'm unclear in terms of that. Like to me, there's a pool of money sitting there, $200,000 that are for contingencies. Yet when things like this come up, we're told, and this isn't the first time, but you can't apply it to that. You can't. So am I to take it that 200,000 or 300,000 will be coming back to the municipality because we're not spending it?
I don't.
I don't see. I'm not holding my breath, Pat. But I'm just saying, can you explain why we put this? Because it's a substantial amount of money. We're not putting an extra 5,000 or 10,000 in for contingency.
Yep.
It's a couple $100,000 that is being explained to us. This is for extras over and above. But every project, it just seems to be somehow they just get eaten up, right? And so, in terms of being fiscally responsible to the people I work for,
yep.
I need an answer in terms of where that money goes, because there's $200,000 or $300,000 that I'm assuming isn't going to come back to us. So I'd like to know where it went to, because we're being asked for another 86 here, and to me, some of that 300,000 can be put towards this 86. So,
not.
So you explained the contingency. Maybe you can explain it again, because it doesn't sound like there is a you said that when we did this, we were over budget, so we didn't do a contingency, and we
So that's correct, Mayor Martin. So my understanding is when we did when the project first evolved, prior to tendering and securing contractor bidding, our offices had prepared a preliminary construction cost estimate based on recent closings, recent construction costs. So that was essentially provided to both the county and the township, which probably would have formed a basis of budget setting. Following that, we had secured, went out to a public open tender call, received, I think, a half a dozen bids from various contractors. And it was upon that time that the bids as we had received was above and beyond what I'll say our original preliminary cost estimate was. So again, I'm just using this easy figures here. We might have originally set a preliminary budget of $2 million. The bids that we have received from the contractors would have been 2.3 million. So in face value, there was no contingency applied, I guess, to the project. It was already above and beyond maybe what was set by both county and township council.
So just for clarification, basically, it came to us, we budgeted it with a contingency. It went out for final pricing, came back for final pricing. That was more than what so in terms of the process, are we doing this the right way? Shouldn't you guys be coming to us once you've got some final numbers? And maybe there's a timeline to some of this, but I mean, because this isn't the first time this has happened. We kind of go through this all the time. And like I said, if it was smaller sums of money, I might not be so concerned about it, but I'm eating up $300,000-$400,000 on projects that could be put back into other projects here as far as I'm concerned, right? It has me troubled a little bit. So I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. And then just one more quick question in terms of the overall project through Mr. Mayor. So the ask for the 86, this is it for phase one, right? So we're not going to be coming back here next year asking for more.
Yeah, like it's right now the way we're tracking, we're tracking on budget. As I go back and I referenced before some of the certain line items, we've been able to, I don't want to say pare down the scope, but the scope has been pared down to put a cost savings back into the contract. So I would, based on the way we're standing here today, and hopefully it moves in the same direction, I would forecast that we would track on budget.
So the 86 would take us to the completion of phase one complete, which would be what we've got here, Quebec Street, and then next year for that. So that's what I'm saying, because I thought we were done last summer, and here we are this summer looking for another 86. So I don't know if somebody will be back here next year looking for another 100,000.
Yeah, I would hope not. And the way things are standing and looking is, I feel fairly confident that.
I appreciate that. And you can only give me your opinion, right? It doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. When I hear somebody say, I hope so, right? That to me should know, but I appreciate your answer. Thank you.
So Jerry, you had your hand up, and then Kathy and Ben.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and thanks, gentlemen, for your presentation. You can hear me okay?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm confused. I'm a new counselor, just the first term. And some of the things that the deputy mayor has asked are pretty important things. Number one is, why do we tender? Why do we provide specs if we're going to give a blank check to a contractor during the project? And I don't understand this. Havelock is built in a lower area. Anybody that's worked on the project, and certainly I think the county is aware of that. It's their road. They ran into a similar problem on 44. These items, what we're asking to contribute to is a known item. It's low ground, lots of water, and that's probably one of the reasons why we wanted to do it, to stop the infiltration. So I don't understand why we're going through the exercise of having a tender, providing specs, if it doesn't mean anything. So please explain to me, so I can explain to the taxpayers why, when we get a price, it changes, because you wouldn't do that personally. You wouldn't get a price on a project and then the contractor goes back and you say, oh, I'm about 20 grand short here. If we haven't changed the specs, why is the price different? And if you there's no accountability if you can just ask for more money. So can you explain that to me? What's changed in the tender and the specs that leads to this? We had a wet spring. Yeah. And we have cold winters and we get snow in the wintertime. To me, there are irrelevant points that are brought forth. Those are things that they put in the specs and when they're doing their quote. say what happens here, and that whether you use it as contingency or whether you simply call it part of the contract, you build in certain things and anomalies that happen during the process. So please explain to me why we go through those other exercises of getting the other 6 people to do a quote on it if the quote doesn't mean anything. Oh, did my volume go off?
No, sorry,
Just deciding who's going to speak.
Yeah. Through you, Mayor, I'll answer part of it and maybe Pat can add to it. So just from a tendering perspective, we are required, county and township, to follow our purchasing policies. So that requires us to go out to the market, obtain those bids, and we do have to go with the lowest compliant bidder. So it's really just showing that you are receiving.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. We are compelled to go with the lowest bidder?
Yes, the lowest compliant bidder. So you would check them to make sure they're qualified, they have the proper references.
I got
the lowest
that.
compliant bidder
Okay.
would be the work. So you're showing that you are receiving the work can be done, performed at the lowest rate. So that's the point.
What is the purpose of doing this?
Speaking, Councillor Doherty, let him finish speaking and then you can do your follow-up. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, there you again. So inside of that, we do build specifications, and we do hold our contract administrator inspector holds our contractors across Peterborough County accountable to those specifications. But where you run into some unknowns, and this often happens in our specifications, and I can say confidently, at the county level, we do reconstructions about 1 per year. So this isn't new to us that we would see some extras. Often there's unforeseen conditions that you can't write into a specification. And things like groundwater are a very hard thing to determine. It moves, it changes. And so when we did an analysis, we did boreholes. We sound with the groundwater level. We said to the bidder, when you're bidding this, assume a groundwater elevation of such. So they bid it at that rate, and it's changed since then. So it's gone up and then. So now they're working in water that they didn't really anticipate they would have when they had that information. So as per the spec, we said bid it this way, but the conditions have changed. And it would be the same as if you dug in, we said the soil type was one, and you get there, it's a different soil type. That's fair to the contractor to say you bid it not knowing this, and that's what leads to a change order. So that's really what the tendering process entails, is there's a whole process for change orders and doing it fairly. And I don't want it to be perceived that there is a blank check. It's not. This is a normal process that we go through with contractors where you negotiate what is an extra and what's not. And there is other things that are being asked where they would say, no, as per the specifications, it's clear that you're not getting that because it's in there. But something in this case is, as we looked at it, it has changed since we put out that bid, specifically that groundwater elevation has gone up. And so that's where the process of tendering is done. And that process is actually in the municipal government. It's explained. There's a whole section on change orders and how they should be basically done. So we are following that process.
Okay, Councillor Doherty, go ahead.
Well, thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. I that's all wonderful, and I agree. So, but you're to me, there's the tendering and specs are mean nothing to me if you can simply add to them. You should change orders. Well, this is not a change order. This is something that's already done, and we're being asked to pay. And I think there's one item we are actually forgetting about is the part of the county is kicking in. We also kick in on that because 36% of our tax dollars go to the county. So we're getting our own portion of our taxpayers' money plus the portion we're sending to the county. I don't completely understand. I respect what you're saying. I just don't necessarily agree with these overruns and thing. I don't see the point of tendering and getting specs if we can just come and ask for more money. I just don't. But that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Doherty. Councillor Clement.
Do you remember? Mine's more of a technical question, Pat. So what was you do? Pit? No, they go down how far?
Yeah, so what we've done is a varying depth. So based on the design, certain infrastructures, primarily the sanitary sewer is the lowest depth. Depending on where we are in the streetscape, they would go down to equal the lowest level of the new infrastructure.
So afterwards, Pat, how much of that pit stays down or does it come back out again?
Like the materials.
Yeah.
So as the contractor works his way through, they're removed and they're backfilled and compacted, so nothing remains of the pits.
Okay. Pleasure. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, through you, Mayor Martin. I understand the water issue that Havelock has, and I don't have a problem with making a motion to pay for those extra costs. I mean, this is something that we need to get done, and we need to stop arguing about our water and I mean, I understand, I mean, if you would see it, I've seen it, so anyway. Going forward from that, what's a little bit confusing to myself, and I'm sure to some of the residents, maybe you can explain why George Street from Oak to Quebec is being done last. And so if you're gonna do Quebec and then you're reconnecting to the spot that's down here, is that an issue or is that just a normal process that you do?
Yeah, so I guess I'll answer the last part first. It is a normal process. The reason for the shift change is if you can go back and recollect the photographs of the large diameter concrete storm sewer pipe. So currently in the block of Quebec to Oak, the sanitary sewer pipe flows in an easterly direction. Based on the grades and the depths that the new pipe system would be implemented in, we were unable to permit, I guess, or maintain the existing flow. So we've had to deepen the sanitary sewer in that block and take the flow westerly out to Quebec. By doing so, the new design would put the gravity sanitary sewer deeper than what's out on Quebec currently. So we need to rebuild Quebec to be able to facilitate, I guess, the discharge of the sanitary sewer within that block first. So we need to do the work on Quebec ahead of the work within the Quebec to Oak intersection.
Thank you for that. That actually made a little sense. Now the pipes that are going down to pull out the water, a question that people have asked me, where's that water going?
So right now it's being discharged into the storm sewer system.
And that's our storm sewer system that we have now, not the new one going in, like?
It would be the new storm sewer system that's been currently built.
So it's running east?
It runs east, that's correct.
But the pipes were coming out to the corner here at Oak and George, and they were going into a grate. That's where the water was coming out. Like, so I'm a little confused on that.
Yeah, so there's right now there's currently five of those well points that were installed. Some have been, I guess, removed. So the majority, I'm correct myself, the majority of the flow goes into the new storm sewer system. You are correct that there is one that goes into the catch basin system right at the corner of Oak and George, and that storm sewer system flows south.
Okay.
And there's a split point where then it goes down our rear yard, and some of it carries on further south. So there is a portion of water that goes down, I guess, the existing storm sewer network.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Kathy?
So through you, Mayor Martin, I'd like to make the recommendation that we follow I'll make a motion to follow the recommendations given to us to proceed.
Okay. Right, so I have a motion for the recommendation. Do I have a seconder? Jerry? Are you
No, I had a
seconding?
question. But I didn't get my hand up, I guess.
Can't hear you.
I said I had a question prior to the motion. Or I can
Okay.
ask it after you get a seconder if that's what happened.
Okay, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor, and all due respect to what Pat said and the question from the deputy mayor, I don't have a lot of confidence that we won't have this back in June of 2026 asking for more money. I live in the land of hope all the time, but I'm not sure that it builds a lot of confidence in me that we aren't going to have another bill later on this project. And if if it is going to be, please let us know now, because we're going to be coming up to budget in the fall, and I just don't like surprises. So I know, Pat, you can't definitively, but we have a definitive budget arrangements. So any light you could add there would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. So I do have a mover. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Second by Councillor Flagler. All right, any other questions? Go ahead.
Record.
This includes the cost, right? The 86, that's what the motion is? Yes, okay, thank you.
Okay, and I think I heard Councillor Doherty looking for a recorded vote.
Right.
Okay.
Through you, Mayor Martin. So the motion is that the council of the Havelock-Belmont-Methuen approve additional project funding in an estimate amount of $86,160 exclusive of HST. The motion is moved by Councillor Clement, seconded by Councillor Flagler. Recorded vote requested by Councillor Doherty. We'll start with Councillor Doherty on the line. So
No.
we'll make sure we vote. No. Councillor Flagler.
Yes,
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Webb.
Yes.
Councillor Clement.
Yes.
The motion is carried 4 votes to 1.
Thank you. So thank you, guys. Look forward to seeing it finish.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Broke my glasses.
A lot of names.
All right, so we're gonna move into our second
Thanks,
delegation.
Doug. See you later.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Megan Ireland, Daniel, welcome.
Hi, guys. Is my mic on? Is it on?
No.
The red light, push the button on the right-hand side.
Now sing.
There you go. There you go.
Whoa.
Just sing a song. We like to test it. Can you sing something?
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I'm here today representing the Havelock Lions Club. We are here. Oh, cool. To ask for municipal support for an free event that will take place every Sunday in the Rotary Park south of the highway. Just here, this is our little example of a poster. What we're asking for municipal assistance with is the use of the Rotary Park, assistance with associated permits, help with local and regional media engagement, municipal endorsement to support community and tourism promotion efforts. It will be a free weekly outdoor music event at 3 p.m. for the months of July and August. And our goal is to enhance community engagement, support local talent, and stimulate local economic activity through a series of accessible, family-friendly musical performances, in which we will have local, hopefully, mostly local talent, if we can get it up. So local and regional, it would be free to attend, open to all ages, family-oriented, inclusive, and community-centered, set on the pond side, so the smaller side of the park for now. I don't see a need to go further than that right now. Maybe in the future, if this is a big deal, maybe we may have to move to the other side, the bigger side, but for now, I think the small side's enough. It would be a Lions Club event, and we're asking to partner with the township for this. I will also have, I'm hoping I'll just move on. So our key goals are to strengthen social bonds and through art and music. Offer performance opportunities for local artists. Attract visitors and increase foot traffic in Havelock. Support local businesses and the creative economy. Create a recurring summer tradition that fosters civic pride. If it goes good this year, next year will be even better. We're hoping to boost tourism with this and bring in outside traffic. So we're, the lakes and the other towns, small towns around, bring us positive regional press, which Havelock could surely use, and community visibility. So to get out there, and also realistically, there's nothing for young people to do on it, we need more events. Aside from what I've written down, I think we need that. Yeah. So we're hoping to support the local economy by engaging youth art and artists in volunteer roles, which we have had a lot of people. I've kind of behind the scenes been asking, and there's a lot of interest for people to come and volunteer, young people, which is great. Showcasing Havelock's cultural and recreational appeal. Getting into that park that we don't use very often. Encouraging community-based collaboration. So by bringing together the Lions Club, the township, and the music volunteers. A community engagement, youth involvement, and volunteer hours. So some high school, I don't know if anybody has high school kids, but they have to have 40 hours of volunteer hours. So we're hoping to be able to help with that with some of the young people. Local nonprofits will be able to fundraise and raise awareness. Service groups to participate, example, Lions Club. Community pride through participation and attendance. So here we are, again, back what we respectfully request support from the township for use of the Rotary Park on Sunday afternoons for the months of July and August. Assistance with permits and relevant approvals. Town support with media promotion and event visibility. Occasional logistical assistance, i.e. garbage pickup, extra signage, and logistics for parking overflow if needed. Endorsement for grant applications and community backing, which we have the lovely Sherry. I know is really good with those things. So as far as marketing and promotion, we're planning on doing some pretty strong social media campaigns that are set to go as soon as we can. Posters and community boards around the community, partnerships with local radio and newspapers. We're going to be branded as Harmony and Havelock, Music on the Pond. We also like to collaborate with local businesses for promotional synergy. You didn't receive it because we're so close to when we'd like to start. This year I don't think we'll go that way, but I did do up a sponsorship package. In the future, if businesses would like to sponsor, we can advertise for them at the event. We're a little tight right now, not saying no, but the timing is projected expenses. So insurance and liability coverage. If this is run as a Lions event, it will be on our end covered. So that is not a cost to you. That would be a cost to the Lions. The marketing and printing costs, I'm sure we do a lot of that. So it's not crazy, but it's a little. Required permits and signage, which would be also signage. I'm not just talking signage as in Harmony and Havelock. I'm also talking, parking this way, traffic redirection, stuff like that. That's it. That's about all I have for that. I'm hoping that you've got everything in your emails. Yeah. Okay, guys. So I'll just leave it open if anybody has any questions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I just want to comment. I just gonna make a comment through you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, no, thank you. It's always thank you very much for yourself, for putting yourself out there, taking the initiative on this. It's nice to see people in our community go out, and obviously we've lost the Jamboree a number of years ago, and I think there's been a few attempts at getting it fired up again, which haven't obviously come to fruition. But I hear where you're coming from in terms of the town, is really kind of screaming for some kind of event. I think just because of the vacuum that created when it left. So no, great, where we can. I think, I don't want to speak for all the council, but I think council would be more than happy to help with, a number of these things. Just probably something we need to sit down and discuss, the ins and outs for it. But to you and the group, like I said, thank you very much for taking the initiative on this, and hopefully we can help you moving forward. So
If it was any consolation, I did get the support of the Lions Club. They were really good about it, so that helps a lot.
thank you, Megan.
Moving forward, yeah.
And that's when I look at this as another Lions event, and it's really nice to see us doing these types of things in the community, because it's great for the community. So as far as any help from the township, like Sherry's already busy, but if, as far as sharing some of your posts, like that poster that you had there, I think we can all do that.
Yeah, get it out there. And
Yeah.
yeah, the more concern was with the park itself.
The one thing I seen on a couple of pieces of, I don't know, documents that have come forward, and that's that big grassy field that everybody keeps eyeing up. There's no vehicles or nothing is allowed on it. That's a soccer pitch. So
Yeah,
people eye it up for parking, or they eye it up for things like that.
no,
It just can't be used. It's for soccer, and it's as tempting as it is, because it's a beautiful hunk of ground. We got to keep it to. It is a gem that we have over.
yeah, so we kind of have been
Okay.
shooting around some ideas, but the soccer field was not
Okay.
ideas.
So the Rotary
Yeah.
Park there is something that we need to promote, because it's the best kept secret we got. And we've always said that for years. We got to show it better. This would be I could see it right now. It'd be a beautiful opportunity for people to get over there and enjoy some music.
Yeah.
Yes.
Councillor Clyde.
Through you, Mayor, Martin. Megan, that's like an awesome idea. I've been crying for a while to get somebody to go down there and use the Rotary Park, because it is a beautiful spot. You do have the extra parking in the soccer field and then there's like a bridge that you can walk across. And I mean, that's cool on its own.
So that was something that we kind of talked about with the handicap parking. So like the small one, and then maybe the two spots right beside the little bridge could be reserved also for handicap, because it's very close, like.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. And also
That's future, but yeah.
the two bathrooms, the washrooms, the soccer field hasn't used them in a while, but I'm pretty sure that they are still usable. The last time I did, just had to clean it up a bit in there, but there is really nice, two beautiful washrooms.
Perfect. Yeah.
That could be opened.
It sounds like
Great job.
you got the board here.
We're excited if
Yeah.
really tight.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Outdoor music event scheduled to be on Sunday at 3 p.m. at Rotary Park in July and August. It's hereby approved.
So Bob has a prepared motion, or it's on here probably maybe, but so Deputy Mayor Webb, go ahead. You're gonna move that?
Move it.
Okay, second by Councillor Flagler. Any questions? All in favor?
Awesome.
All right. We're gonna move into zoning bylaw amendment portion of the meeting, so I'll look for a motion to go into the public meeting. Moved by Councillor Clement, second by Deputy Mayor Webb, all in favor? And that's carried.
Samantha's coming.
Did we move oh, no, there it is, that's it. Hello, Samantha. I'll just do my little thing here and then take over. So this is a statutory meeting held under section 39 of the Planning Act. Any person may attend the public meeting and or make verbal or written representation either in support or in opposition of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Please keep your microphone off, video off, microphone muted during the meeting until the chair invites you to comment regarding a planning matter. If a person or public body does not make oral submission at the public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen before the proposed zoning bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen to the Ontario Land Tribunal. If a person or public body does not make an oral submission at the public meeting or make written submission to the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen before the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of the appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to ask the person or public body as a party. If you wish to be notified of the passing of the zoning bylaw amendment, you must make written requests to the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen. So, take over, Samantha.
Good morning, council. So this is just coming back in front of council. It's the general housekeeping amendment in terms of the provisions for a sleeping cabin as well as accessory structures within the seasonal residential and island residential zone. This was brought before council back in May just to receive any sort of public comments and council comments. And at the time we received a few emails just about more information, and from that statutory public meeting to now, we haven't received any further public comments or concerns with the general housekeeping amendment. So we are looking at a recommendation to approve the housekeeping amendment that is brought forth in front of council this evening.
Okay. All right then. So I'll start off with the question here 3 times. Is there anybody wishing to speak in opposition of this amendment? Second time, anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Third time, anybody wishing to speak in opposition? And anybody wishing to speak in favor of this application or this amendment? Second time, anybody wishing to speak in favor? Third time, anybody wishing to speak? Hearing none, turn it over to the council.
There's a motion to.
Okay, it's moved by Deputy Mayor Webb and second by Councillor Clement. Question, Jerry?
Through your chair to Samantha, and it may be a mute point, but most of these applications we get of seasonal residential, we rezone them to SD. How does this affect that?
Through you, Mayor, it doesn't really apply in this situation because we're just looking at changing the actual zoning bylaw. Rezoning of specific property, say from seasonal residential to special district, is on a lot basis. It depends on each subject application. It may actually reduce the amount of planning applications that we receive because we are taking away some of the provisions in our zoning bylaw. I see that 75% of the accessory structure. So we may see a reduction in those applications because they can actually meet the provisions of our zoning bylaw, but doesn't necessarily change a rezoning to a special district.
Thank you.
Okay, so we do have a mover and a seconder. Any other questions? All in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Okay, thank you, Samantha. Do you have anything else? Okay. All right then, so I'll look for a motion that we go to this public meeting and moved by Councillor Clement, second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? Carried. Okay, so now I'll look for a motion to go into the public meeting for minor variance application with Deputy Mayor Webb in the chair. So moved by Councillor Clement, second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? Carried. Take over.
Thank you, Mayor Martin and members of the Committee of Adjustment. I'll call this public meeting to order and remind the members of the committee of the requirement to disclose any pecuniary interest and general nature thereof if the occasion arises. This public meeting is held under Section 45 of the Planning Act and its regulations, and we'll now have our planning consultant, Samantha, present just one minor variance application today. Francis. Samantha.
Thank you very much. Yes, this is a minor variance application for 31 Fire Road 59A. The subject property is approximately 0.17 acres in size. Next slide, please. The purpose of the minor variance application A0425 is to seek relief from section 4.1 subsection E, section 4.22 and section 10.2.1 subsection G of the comprehensive zoning bylaw to permit an existing boathouse in a new proposed location originally constructed without a building permit on the subject lands having the following effects: reducing the required minimum separation distance from the attached deck from 1.5 meters or 5 feet to 0.9 meters, 3 feet. Reducing the required minimum side lot line setback from 3 meters, 10 feet to 1.5 meters, 5 feet, and 2.7 meters, 8.83 feet. And also increase the maximum lot coverage from 15% to 21%. It's a little bit hard to see here, but the applicant constructed a boathouse. It's sort of outlined in red there. On the property that was identified that was built without a building permit. The boathouse has a ground floor area of approximately 10.4 square meters, or around 112 square feet. The boathouse is currently constructed on the southern portion of the property. However, as you can see here, the applicant did do a property survey and it was found to be encroaching onto the adjacent lands to the south. Next slide, please. So the current location of the boathouse is not permitted, is encroaching onto the neighboring lands. So the boathouse is proposed to be relocated entirely onto the subject lands on Fire Route 59A. So due to the limited width of the subject lands, the width of the property is around 14.72 meters, around 48 feet. And there are existing structures, the deck and stairs. The proposed boathouse location is unable to meet that required side lot line setback of 3 meters. So a 1.5 meter and 2.7 meter setback is requested. As you can see here, the proposed location is currently would be placed on top of the existing deck stairs. So those stairs are proposed to be relocated to provide some additional space for the boathouse and to increase that setback from the side lot line. To ensure that views are not impacted, the boathouse is proposed to be located quite close to the existing attached deck of 0.9 meters or 3 feet, where the 1.5 meters, 5 feet is required. Next slide, please. So these are just some site photos just to showcase the current location of the boathouse and then the proposed location. Although you can't see it in the site photo, you can see that existing set of stairs coming down, which is where the proposed boathouse will be located quite close to the dwelling to not impact views of the lake. As you can see, the site does have some vegetation on the north side, which will provide some sort of buffering and screening from neighboring property owners as well. Next slide, please. The planning staff have reviewed the application in accordance with the applicable planning legislation and policies, including the provincial planning statement, official plan and zoning bylaw. Planning staff can confirm that the application is consistent with section 45 subsection 1 of the Planning Act, as the application meets the intent of the official plan, meets the intent of the zoning bylaw, is desirable and appropriate, and is minor in nature. Planning staff can confirm that notice was provided in accordance with the Planning Act. Mail notice was provided to all homeowners within 60 meters of the subject site and a property sign was posted. As this application meets the 4 tests of minor variance and conforms to the TPS, it is the recommendation of this report that the application be approved. Happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Thank you very much for the report, Samantha. Is the applicant or their agent present or online with us today?
Yes, I am.
Hey, sir, do you want to add anything? Or sorry, first of all, can you state your name, please?
Daniel Francis.
Okay.
Just the only one to add is that I really didn't know it was on the neighbor's property. We did the survey, realized it was. Obviously wasn't the intent to be malicious and cause a lot of trouble up there. Just trying to make the place a little bit nicer. We've gone through all the whole process now and learned a lot and hoping that we can move it over there and make it nice again.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, with that, is there anyone present or online wishing to speak in opposition of this application? Second time, anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Third and final time, anyone wishing to speak in opposition of this application? Is there anyone present or online wishing to speak in favor of the application? Second time, anyone in favor? Third and final time, anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application? So hearing no comments or questions besides that from the applicant, open up to the committee for questions or a motion. Mayor Martin?
Yeah, so I'd be prepared to move the recommendation for this application.
Do I have a mover from Mayor Martin? Do I have a seconder? Councillor Flagler, comments or questions on the motion? Councillor Doherty, go ahead.
Through you, Chair, just a question more than anything. Since the boathouse is going to be moved off of the encroach and stop the encroachment, why can't it be relocated closer to the the roadway to alleviate some of the problems as well, because it's not on the water. Just a question of whether that was presented, whether it was an option or not.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Unfortunately, there is a septic in the front, so, and then they also have their driveway. So in terms of relocating it to the roadside, it's quite limited there. Also, because it is a boathouse, its intention is to be utilized for marine facilities and the storage of boats and stand-up paddleboards, life jackets, things of that nature. So our zoning bylaw does permit them to have them within the water yard, because people lugging their boats up to the front or the rear side of their cottage sometimes isn't desirable. So having the boathouse in its proposed location does make the most sense in terms of the intent of the structure. And there are other constraints on the roadside that would prevent it from being located in that location as well.
Is that sufficient, Councillor Doherty?
Well, no, I just wondered was an option, and it sounds like the owner and Samantha have gone over and it can't be done. Anyway, thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So we've got a mover and a seconder. Any further comments or questions on the motion? If not, I'll call a motion. All in favor? And that's passed. And that's it for the one report today. So thank you very much, Samantha, for the report. And I'll now take a motion to adjourn the public meeting and return it back to our regular council meeting. Moved by Councillor Clement, second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's passed. Mayor Martin.
I'm just going to say maybe we can take a 10-minute break and come back to the planning report. So look for Lord to take a 10-minute recess. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so look for a motion that we resume the meeting. Moved by Councillor Clement, second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so we're going to move into planning reports, and Samantha, you're back on.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this is just a brief notice just about the official plan from Peterborough County. So recently on May 7th, the county did support the red line revisions to the county OP. So it has been adopted. The red line revisions have been adopted by the county. So now they're just being sent back to the minister. So we are just waiting for that. And as part of that, we will have to update our zoning bylaw afterwards when that time does come that the official plan is in effect. So just keeping council updated on that process and what happens after that. I will be coming back with further updates. So just wanted to provide that to county or the council.
All right, so we have a recommendation before us. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, next is the permission process.
Yeah, through you, Mayor, this is just a brief information report just on minor variances and permission applications. When I've been going through some of our applications and looking at minor variances and permissions, essentially what we are allowed to enforce conditions like we saw earlier today, conditions of approval. And with that, I was just looking at our site plan control bylaw and noticed that it is quite out of date. It was done in 2009. So we have had some recent changes to our planning legislation. And I'm just looking for a recommendation from council that you direct staff to review and provide an updated site plan control bylaw to make sure that it is consistent with our planning policies that we have and what has changed because it does impact site plan control. So just looking for a recommendation from council.
Are you saying things have changed since 2009? Okay, all right, so the recommendation here, moved by Councillor Clement, second by Deputy Mayor Webb. Any questions on that? All in favor? That's carried. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we move into staff reports for information. There is 8 reports here, and get caught up here. So I'm just going to look for There's eight staff reports for information here. This is similar to a consent agenda, so I'm just gonna say, I'm not gonna go through them individually. If there's anything you would like Paul to speak about, do it now. Okay, Councillor Doherty, go ahead.
Through your chair, maybe I missed it, but I've read all the reports from our fire chief. Perhaps he can comment, but it seems to be over the last 3 months, our medical calls are down substantially, and I don't know what. I don't have the other reports, but they seem to be down. Perhaps the fire chief could comment on that.
Okay,
Yep. Good morning, everybody. Through you, Mayor Martin. The dispatching system from the CAC Center, from the ambulance services, they've changed and they're trying a new thing. So some of the calls that we're not getting because we don't actually need to go to them, just the way they're coming in, like if it's there's more questions for a shortness of breath and stuff like that. So then we are not getting dispatched out. It's like a new system. We talked about it earlier there in the spring.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah. So it seems to be cutting down some of the medical calls that we don't need to go to.
Thank you.
okay. Councillor Flagler, you had a question? You want something, Paul?
It's through you, Mayor Martin. It's actually not for the fire department. It's for the economic and development, and I'm just trying to look at what I saw there. Sherry, you made a letter here to us, and you stated using the soccer field. Yes. Pardon?
That's farther down.
Okay, sorry, Sherry, nothing for you.
Until the next area. So is there anything else in the reports for information that needs pulled? So I'll just take a motion that we receive all the reports for information. Moved by Councillor Clements, second by Deputy Mayor Webb. All in favor, and that's carried. So now we're moving into staff report for follow-up action, and the first item there is Lionel. Taylor was gonna come in the camera too.
Two chairs up here.
No pressure. Okay, Lionel, so draft online budget survey. Anybody got any? Yep, Councillor Flagler, go ahead.
Survey from last year, are all the questions the same?
To share, most of them are the same. I think there was a stated sort of wish of council to do some statistical analysis year over year. So we've taken a couple out that didn't seem to make sense anymore, but by and large, they're very similar questions to last year.
Okay, Jerry, did you have your hand up?
Through your chair, should we be inserting a question relative to the medical, the change in what we've done with the Norwood, whether, the comments on that, or should we just leave it as is and see what happens after we get it in full swing? It's just a question or a thought.
Through you, Chair, I can definitely add that in at this point. If council wants to give a little bit of direction on how they want to formulate that question, given things have changed since the last survey went out, that would be great.
Do you have an idea how you wanted it worded, Jerry?
Oh, no, through your chair. I just wanted to know what the rest of council thought. I mean, it's new. It would be, I don't know, maybe it's premature. I just would like the feelings of the other members. Maybe it's too early. Maybe we should wait. I don't know. It was just a thought. That's all. If there's no concern and nobody else is see an issue, then to me, I would leave it as it is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor Webb.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. No, I appreciate, it's a good thought. in terms of this. Just at this point, Councilor Doherty, my question is kind of where we're going in terms of, I don't know what the question we would ask at this early stage, so I would, for myself, I'm just wondering if maybe this is something we should wait, 6 months or a year or whatever till we kind of roll out this new program we've got with the doctor, and then maybe we could formulate a more specific question in terms of what we're trying to get back in terms of feedback. But I do think that at some point, like now that we're into this, medical services should be a part of this survey. So I agree with that. I just don't know if maybe it might be better if, as I said, we held off for 6 months until we know exactly what the program is going to look like.
Agreed. Thank you.
Okay, Bob, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Martin, there is an opportunity in the survey for the public to comment generally if there's any other issues they wish to address. So that opportunity is there as well.
Did you have something else?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. It's understood that the past council has agreed or wanted to at the time after they sold the medical center that they were going to build another one. I think it would be interesting to see how many residents would like that medical center built in Havelock, not joining another township for their taxes, which I still feel that most people don't really fully understand that process. So, but if there is a question at the end, if they wanted to add that, that'd be fine too. But I would like to see that in future. Thank you.
Future, okay. All right then, so for right now then, Deputy Mayor Webb, you're.
I'll move that we just go with what we have. Thank you to Lionel and Kayla for the work on that.
Okay, so I have a mover. Is there a seconder for that? Second by Councillor Clement. All right then. All in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, next is the tax bill newsletter interest. So what does everybody think of that? Any questions? Go ahead, Jerry.
Through you, Chair. Just how we open up the newsletter, and no disrespect, Mayor, but I think it's a message from HBM Council. It's the first opening remark. Isn't this exactly what we as a council have been working on? So to me, I would like to see it, the message from HBM Council. That's a comment.
Yeah, that's fine with me. It's just something that's always been done, and we don't have to do what's always been done. We can change it now. So it can be a message from council and signed council. So
Gets you off the hook a little bit.
yeah, that's what you guys said, right?
Oh, I don't know.
So okay. All right, so that's fine with me if that's the only changes that have to be made on it. Make a motion for that, or Lionel, just your input.
Just wanted to say that certainly with council's input, Kayla has really pulled together what I consider probably the best. I'll say it. It's the best tax insert in Peterborough County, including the county. It's very informative. If you look at other ones, they don't have near as much information. It looks good, so I just think she should get some kudos for putting that together every year, especially this year when it's been enhanced as much as it has been.
So moving forward, moving forward, I suggest that like when this comes up for next year, that council, it's one of the hardest ones. I do lots of them. This is the hardest one because you're trying to put a lot and you only have a few lines. So it's one that it's really tricky to get it done. But that being said, if council wants to have their name on it, they should put their input next year and have it ready for the newsletter next year. They can write it, and that would probably be a better thing to come from you guys. So, okay. So motion just to
Motion just for the comment, in that we'd love to give Kayla kudos, but she never come up to the table.
Yeah,
you gotta come to the table with kudos.
We're still working on that.
So motion to amend the, go ahead, Lionel.
Sorry, there was one other thing that I had been discussing with a counselor previous to the meeting. Perhaps I should be putting in something that says maybe on the third page, if you have any questions about the budget, please contact myself. So that kind of maybe takes questions to you. Not that I want to put anybody off, but this actually gives them more direct line to me rather than you counselors getting the questions and you have to relay them this way. They can say, okay, if I have a question about any of this, I just contact this guy at the office.
Okay,
Like that.
yeah. Okay, then. So once again, the
Yeah,
motion was
yeah,
to
with the-
just amend
And all the
title.
amendments that have been mentioned.
Yep.
I think Mary had a question. I saw a hand go up. I'm not sure.
Jerry, was your hand up?
No, I just wanted, if I can through your chair, you made a comment that we're involved and for next year to change this. I'm not sure I understand your comment because what's in the first paragraph update is part of what council does. And I don't think that changes anything. I don't think changes the message in there at all. It's just that these are council initiatives, both this council and maybe some from the previous council. So it is a council update of what's happening, and I don't think we need any more. I mean, I like it. It's great this year, and I don't have a problem with the whole thing generally. So it was just a comment. Thanks.
Okay. All right, so we have a mover and a seconder. We have a seconder for this?
We do not.
Seconder for this, Councilor Clement seconding it. All in favor? And that's carried. Thanks, Lionel.
Thanks, Lionel.
Thanks, Kayla, even though you didn't vote.
Doesn't count.
Okay. Very, well, the reference. Yes.
By council.
I don't know, we've had the report. I don't know, was there anything you needed to highlight in there, Sherry, or?
Through you, Mayor Martin, I'm happy to highlight for folks where the changes are, if that would be helpful from a background standpoint. The most significant changes were to add more pointed information in terms of the tourism sector. In the review by the Economic Development Committee, we found that there weren't enough references to tourism specifically. It's a huge component of our economic drivers. So there were 3 additional points in terms of principles that were added. There was a slight change under mandate where we expanded bullet points, for example, marketing and promotion of the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen as a welcoming 4-season destination. A great deal of our emphasis should be on the winter and shoulder seasons. And then finally, under membership, to bring this document up to date, we adjusted the membership details so there is no reference to boards. It's simply for volunteer members from the community currently operating a business or having other sought-after qualifications and or experience not represented on the committee. And we define what we mean by that below. They were the noted adjustments to this document.
Okay. So the only things I had on there, one thing I was happy to see is it's bi-monthly. That's a good thing. And the one thing that I didn't see very many times in there was it's just an advisory committee. It's not it's a committee at council for advisory. They don't make decisions. Council in the end makes the decision. It wasn't really highlighted in there, but and the other one was the 10 members. I thought it was 4 members, and now consists of no more than 10 members.
Mayor Martin, we included 2 members of council in terms of representation, our 4 volunteers. We have always in the past sought out input, participation from the Chamber of Commerce, and we've had the benefit of 1 agricultural representative we invite.
Okay. All right then. I'm gonna see it to work into a huge committee for what it's supposed to be. So, okay. Any questions around that?
I'll make a motion. Thank you very much for the report, Sherry. Motion.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Webb is moving that, and Councillor Doherty, are you seconding it, or you have a question?
No, I have several questions. Do you want me to ask them one at a time, or can I go through and just ask them and then Sherry can comment on it?
Okay, go one at a time.
The very first part is in support of the local businesses, we provision economic development. What does that mean?
Through you, Mayor Martin, Councillor Dory, could you pinpoint, is it under the first page you're referring?
It's on page 110, Sherry, I'm sorry, and to me, it's this page.
In terms of the terms of reference document though, does it state, is it under goals?
It's under strategic plan alignment, and it's page 110 on the agenda.
In the report, Sherry.
Oh, sorry, it's in the actual report.
Yes, strategic plan.
Yes. Oh, in terms of strategic plan alignment, excuse me. One of the directives provided to staff from CAO Bob Angioni was to ensure that each report brought to council is aligned with our strategic plan. And so as the author, I'm looking at our mission, vision, values, strategic imperatives, goals set as part of our strategic planning map, and then try to relate that to this report.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt through you, Chair, but I have no problem with why it's in there. It's the one word in there, provisions of economic development. I don't know what that means. So to me, it means, do we have resources? I just don't know what it means under that section. It's the word, not the content so much.
For you, Mayor Martin, it's actually drawn specifically from our strategic plan. I believe it's the second one down under mission where it says that we provision for, and I believe it states, oh my goodness, delivery of services, and it goes through 2 or 3 of those with the latter being economic development. So I drew the language directly from our strategic plan. But what it means to me is that we, as a township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen, provision economic development staff, which is to say you invest in hiring economic development staff, as well as resources spent towards economic development. That might be business expansion and retention, that might be towards promotion, it might be investment attraction, those sorts of activities in terms of the word provision. I hope I've answered that.
Okay, thanks. Through you, Chair. Thanks, Sherry. The actual terms of reference, and I think maybe the mayor mentioned it, but I'm hung up on the word to advise and assist. To me, it's to provide feedback and input, which kind of goes along with I believe what the mayor had said. They're an advisory committee, not a. But that's just my opinion. And under mandate, it says provide advice. I think, don't they provide input? Would be another comment that I have. And if you go to the third page, identifying new and emerging economic sectors and assessing growth potential. And the one right underneath it, identifying funding and partnership opportunities that would support a vibrant business. Can you just elaborate briefly on what that means? Because I was a little hung up on the.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. Councillor Doherty, would you mind repeating that last reference? Sorry, I was making a note under your first question because I'll come back to that. But this last comment was it under membership or was it under mandate?
Mandate.
Mandate, terrific. And it was, could you restate that for me?
Well, it's under mandate, and it says is to provide advice on a range of economic.
What were you referring to? Sorry, I didn't hear it.
What I suggest.
There was fourth bullet down, identify new and emerging economic.
Sorry, you're breaking up. I can't.
Through you, Mayor Martin, Councillor Doherty, is it identifying funding and partnership opportunities that would support a vibrant business community committed to enhancing the visitor experience? Is that the bullet point you're referring to?
Okay, let's go through you, Chair. It's under terms of reference, mandate.
Okay.
Number 3. And it reads, and I can read it all to you, or you can go to the provision that says to provide advice on a range of economic development activities, including. My comment is, do you not mean advice or input on a range of economic developments?
I see. Through you, Mayor Martin, I think what I'm getting from this is the language chosen, not in the bullet points specifically, but in the first sentence before we get to the bullet points. So I've circled the word advice to provide advice on a range of economic development activities. And I think it's tied back to the earlier comment where I was making comments. So under principles, it does state that the committee recommendations are non-binding and intended to be advisory in nature. Participation in the committee is voluntary. We could look at the language so that, again, anytime where it says advise and assist, we could look at changing that is to provide recommendations to. Would that be more suitable?
Through you, Chair, I'm just putting it out because the mayor alluded to the fact that it comes to council for approval. So we definitely value the input of the Economic Development Committee and providing us with input into decision making. Maybe it's semantics, and if it's no big deal, I'm fine. But to me, you're providing input on the things that the Economic Development Committee feel are important to council, and that's all I guess I was trying to make the point there.
You'd be more comfortable with the word input instead of advice. That would be more difference there.
Changes. Through you, Mayor Martin, just for clarification then, in those two areas or any other area where it's referring to advice, we could say to provide input and recommendations.
Right.
Input and recommendations, would that work? Sure. Input and recommendations. Through Mayor Martin, this will come back as a follow-up on the next July council meeting. Thank you.
Okay. All right then. So with the changes there, so that you need a motion for that change.
Well, we had a mover, or whatever, if you want
Yeah,
to change.
change it to input. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
seconder, okay, perfect.
Jerry's seconding that.
Jared?
No, I said I had, through you, Chair, I said I had several questions. I can do them one at a time, or I can give them all, and then Sherry can respond, and each one, whatever the chair wants.
Oh, that's fine. Keep going.
Okay, on page 115, and I'll see if I can get the, is everybody on 115? It says the committee may call upon assistance of the township departments, i.e. planning, treasury, if needed. The committee may request assistance. Is that what you mean? Or can just the economic development just get a hold of anybody and get their input? I guess I'm a little confused to what that means. And if we go down under the budget, which is number 11, I guess on the thing is expenses incurred by this committee are to be approved by council prior to being incurred. I'm just not sure what the rest of the sentence means, and maybe because it goes on and says, and we shall exceed any budget amounts provided within the township operating budget. I don't see the necessity of having that if you're going to come to council for approval for the expense prior to it incurred, because that would be one thing that hopefully we would check prior to approving it. And under the closed section, that closed meetings, that's number 12. I just read the whole paragraph, and I'm a little confused exactly what is meant and how it's applied there. And that's the end of my questions, Chair. Thanks, Sherry.
Through you, Mayor Martin. I'm going to come back to the first in the series. So under section 8, resource staff support, I believe it's the third sentence down, the committee may call upon the assistance of township departments, whether that's planning, treasurer, except if needed. In what we have been doing as a committee, when there is guidance or input needed from the departments, typically staff will seek that out directly, or the counselors, being in our case, would be Councillor Flagler, Deputy Mayor Webb, would seek out input directly from those departments and bring the information into our discussions. We haven't invited any departments in as delegations to the committee. That is an option available to us. Might be interesting, might be worthwhile, especially as we move forward with any sort of planning related issues. Is there any recommendations to adjust that language so that it is more appropriate? Could we eliminate it?
It's the way and come back.
Bev, you had a question?
Yeah, I just have one question. I think maybe we should bring this back because in my understanding, we're giving a lot of power to this committee. And is it not just a committee advisory? Like I'm not understanding why they're gonna need funds and they're gonna need all kinds of stuff. So maybe we need to look at that a little more. I don't know, Sherry. I don't understand where the economic, it's a committee.
Through you, Mayor Martin, there were no changes made to these particular bullet points. There's been a long-standing terms of reference, but I do agree with you that these points could be reviewed in a more holistic view. Happy to do that. I'll take this opportunity because we have the next council meeting being on July 8th, and I could work with Bob on revisiting each point specifically if you like.
So let's make a motion to defer and we'll examine this at a future meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move by Hart, second by Bev. Any other questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Next is Harmony and Havelock. You have a report over there.
Yes.
I think we covered a lot during the delegation.
Thank you very much, Council, and through you, Mayor Martin. I agree. Megan did a terrific job this morning of highlighting what their goals are. She approached us approximately a week ago and said this is something I'm really passionate about doing. What I took from that discussion was that I would like to provide council highlighting what the economic impact is. There are a number of levers that we can pull on to assess what is the measurable economic impact. So I just highlighted it, whether that's tourism related, visitor spending, business retention expansion. This fits nicely into that initiative, and of course, strengthening our visitor economy. The tables that you're looking at, the data that's drawn there is from TAIO, which is the Tourism Association industry. Tourism Association Industry of Ontario. And the data draws from a very simple measure of $60 of spending. That's a day trip. We've used very conservative numbers. The TAO number is lower than what the province of Ontario uses in their TRIUM model. And so we're very comfortable with the targets here. We believe weeks 1 through 9, because there are 9 weeks, 9 Sundays that this event will take place. And that will progress from a low 115 let's say the first 2 weeks, and then that adds up to the 230 that you see in front of you within the table, and it will ramp up to roughly 175 attending the 9th week. We think that's a conservative number with promotion, and based on those numbers, the visitor spend as well as local spend will amount to roughly $36,540 for a total economic impact of roughly $54,000. In terms of recommendations to council, just to bring it back to what the expectation is. And there are a couple of details that weren't highlighted in the presentation, but I'd like to just take a moment. They're asking for a period of time from 12:30 till roughly 6:30 because there's a 12:30 setup. In speaking with Josh, it makes the most sense that we would use the covered picnic area for the live music. So we'll be adjusting some of the picnic tables out of the way for that. We're asking that council approve the in-kind use, which you already have, of the Rotary Park. We're also asking that council provide access and use of the electrical supply. as well as the public washrooms, which were addressed earlier. Approve council parking of vehicles on the soccer field. And the council approve a modest increase in parks, recreation facility staff, maintenance, labor efforts, and applied costs. We think that that can be minimized by asking the Lions to make cleanup as part of their responsibility. I've highlighted that for them, and of course, there was no pushback to that. They're typically very responsible. The council also approved economic development's investment of time and resources towards special event coordination, including civil permit applications and government grant writing assistance. The goal would be to, if we are successful this summer, it would be to work and support them on our future grant.
Okay, so during her presentation, she did talk about the vehicles on the soccer field, that won't be happening. So as far as the first two bullets, we've already agreed to that. I think the balance of it, I think we'll have to come forward to see what kind of, like it says modest increase, but we'll have to know more on that from Josh on what's going to be expected of staff. And as far as economic development, investment of time, we talked a little bit about that they're going to do most of the work and we'll promote whatever comes through. We'll try and share their stuff to do it that way, but if they'll create all of the advertisement, it should be minimal investment on that end. So for today, if we receive this document, the first two bullets we've taken care of so they can get moving, and the other pieces there, I think Josh can put something together maybe on what kind of timeline, because there could be some timelines here. We found that out with the splash pad. So you can let us know more on it, more specific. So Kathy, you.
So through you, Mayor Martin, just a couple questions. Risk management. So the Lions have their own liability or insurance, so they'll have the waivers, not us, them.
Through Mayor Martin, we would ask them to provide us with a certificate of insurance naming the township for their event.
Okay, and then there was a couple more. So first aid.
Through you, Mayor Martin, the Lions Club typically does two things, as my understanding. Within their planning measures, they identify all staff members or all volunteer members that have first aid training. They also have a Noxalone training kit on site, and we'll continue to have that. They'll have their first aid kits on site as well.
Okay, and then I was also just a little concerned about just a comment. I noticed you put Coburg and Port Hope in there.
Yes.
They're 4 times the size we are. Bob Cage is a little more our size, so that's just a comment. And so local OPP, that's in case of rain, they can't move to the community center.
Through you, Mayor Martin,
It needs to be canceled.
it's sort of like it's a rain or shine event. It really would not have an alternative site.
Right.
One of the challenges, or one of the benefits, of working with the community center has been for some of our events, if it's rain, we've had the event at like Summerfest, we could always bring it inside to the ice surface. This is not, it would be our expectations that the Lions Club would be responsible for notifying of any cancellation of events. The township would not. We would help them promote if that's something, we could share that on our sites, but it would be their responsibility to make that declaration.
Through you, Mayor Martin. Sherry, this is the part that I want to talk earlier. The parking vehicles on the soccer field pitch is no. It doesn't make sense to park vehicles on the soccer field with little kids playing on there. Now the parking lot itself is huge. We have quite a few members that do come tonight for soccer, and there's a lot. So there'll be no issue with the parking. They do have those public washrooms. They just need to be cleaned up. And my other concern is that this economic and development staff's investment of time. So you're basically saying if they spend time doing something, we will have to pay for it. That's what I read there. That's the way I perceive that. So I would hope that would go back to the way the Economic and Development Committee has worked for years, because you seem to be using them to do other things, like I'm not understanding the whole economic and development. Hopefully that will come out in time. Anyway,
Thank you, Martin. That's a very good point. Ideally, most successful events are ones that come up through the community. And most townships, most counties all focus on supporting those communities in terms of event development. Where we come in to support them largely is making sure that they are abiding by all safety as well as food safety. So if at this point they haven't mentioned in any of our conversations of having any mobile canteens, but if it was a mobile canteen, they'd have to abide by the preventing process. They have talked about a barbecue. The barbecue is a slightly different framework in terms of requirements. But in terms of investment of my time was to make sure that they meet all of their special event requirements.
okay, but that's not the way that the word has said here, because it says that council approve economic development staff's investment of time and resources towards a special event. So you're basically saying if the economic and development have spent time to do something, we have to approve it. That is what that says there. And I don't feel that I understand the economic and development. I respect all those members that are on there. But I think if they make recommendations is a better way to perceive to come to council instead of saying that council will approve that.
Through you, Mayor Martin, this reference to economic development is me. I'm referring to myself as your economic development officer. It would relate to my core function as in that capacity as your economic development partner or officer rather, is to partner with local communities and to promote events like this. So it's part of my job function today.
Okay, but this is economic and development. So this is for yourself. So you're saying now you come and then we have to approve what you want us to do.
Through you, Mayor Martin, the reason I've highlighted is that we are a busy community. Economic development has identified through a strategic planning exercise as a key objective, a strategic imperative. And so as part of the delivery of my personal responsibilities, this does add additional tasks to my plate, much like parks, recs, and facilities. It means that there are tasks that will be expected of me to ensure the success of this event ongoing, which I'm completely committed to doing because I think that it will be an economic driver, especially with time. It's one that will draw people to town, which is always part of our primary goal. But it is to recognize that it does represent additional work for me, that's all.
Okay, but I'm sorry, Jim, just one more question and I'm not gonna say another word. Okay, so you're talking about economic development yourself. So what is it that you're trying to do? Because it's the Lions Club that's doing the Harmony in Havelock. Yes, we support that. I get that. So, but I'm just not understanding. I just, that whole paragraph should be just taken right out of there because we do support you when you do come to council and you know, your signages or whatever else. Okay, here, let me ask you a question. So what have you done for the businesses that are downtown?
Mm-hmm.
Are there signs up there on the highway? Because they have asked not once, twice, 3 times for that support. Have those signs been done?
Through you, Mayor Martin, I'm happy to talk about the signage, and I think that's a valuable point being brought forward. It is part of the economic development responsibility. It is also tied again, and might be the reference you're making maybe to the economic development because it was raised as a recommendation. But as it relates to this, it was just to highlight that there was additional responsibility for this particular event.
Okay, thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So for today, then it would be to receive this document and. Oh, Jerry, you had a question?
Through you, Chair, I have a question. Yeah. First of all, I I talked to Melissa about this very briefly, and I thought it was a great idea, and I still do, and I think we should proceed with it. But something that I thought was going to be fairly simplistic, to me, is turned into an LA production. And as Councillor Flagler said, I was of the opinion that it was a Lions initiative and we were providing support. But that when I read that first and listened to Melissa's report, that's what I thought. And then when I get to this presentation that's being presented now, it appears to me that it's being driven by HBM. And with the content that's in here, I'm with Councillor Flagler. I just don't understand the whole thing. And we say it's 9 weeks, so it's technically 9 weeks, 2 hours, right?
Mayor Martin, in terms of the amount of time that is required of the space, it's from 12:30 to roughly 6:30. The event from 3 to 6.
Agreed. But that with your presentation, Sherry, you've done the waivers, you've done the time schedule. Where are the Lions involved in this? Because from what as I said, the initial thing from Melissa, I said, yeah, that's great. Lions will provide normally, as we always do, support. But this is not support. This is now turned in. When I'm reading this is an HBM project, not a Lions project. And I think Melissa was fairly clear that it's a Lions project and she has the support of the Lions. So I just don't understand this. Basically, the report, I think it's nice. So we got all information. And I agree with Councillor Clement's point of view is the comparisons made are not even close to what we're looking at. Perhaps the one in Camelford might be a more adequate one to look at. That's just my opinion. And in consultation, we said we've been in consultation with the Parks and Rec, but what about the fire department, bylaw officer, treasury, any other additional costs here? Because we go down deeper into the report and we had a financial impact. It's a Lion initiative and we're providing the money, which is under and coming out of economic development budget. I'm a little bit confused and perhaps you can enlighten me.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. So firstly, thank you. And I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate because one of my goals with this report is to support this event because I do think that it's a tourism asset that can be developed with time. And it's an opportunity for me to provide council with, rather than just a bullet point on a presentation, which speaks to this will have economic impact, it is to share and measure what is that economic impact. We are oftentimes presented with opportunities to lend our support and energy, and we want to be thoughtful in terms of how we go about doing that. If I provided too much information in terms of how we could go about that, I apologize. It wasn't a big investment of my time, I assure you. In terms of costs, in terms of economic impact, the financial elements, coming back to costs, I have within our budget some latitude, which is economic development projects that are undefined. So we sort of go into the year not knowing exactly what opportunities will present themselves. I saw this opportunity as one of those opportunities, as a way of working with a community group to support them to build another event that will hopefully, and I believe it will, bolster our visitor economy. And it's a small investment. It's drawn from the budget, which has been approved already. It does address a few things in terms of what the dollars will look like with some social media advertising. In the discussions I've had with Megan, we did talk about shared advertising again, because I think that it's worth that. as well as some miscellaneous expenses. We were thinking there'd be an opportunity for some signage in terms of roadway signs.
So Sherry, we have to go into closed session, so we've had some good discussion on this, and I think as long as we're not holding the Lions up, we've already approved that we supported in them running it. The questions around we'd be crazy to think that we don't have some sort of input into this thing. Councillor Doherty touched on fire and things like that. That could happen. But that's a part of running events in a township. So for today, if we just receive this document, we're not going to hold the Lions up. We've gave the blessing to go ahead, and we support it in principle for them running this. These other things that are in here, we talked about the soccer pitch and things like that. So if we just receive this document today and we can work on the fine tuning of it, any questions that are there, council can come and speak to you about it on their concerns. And we can, if we need to bring it back, we can bring it back with something like that. But we have to go into closed session. It was a hard stop for 11:30 actually. So
Thank you.
Okay. All right then. So motion to receive moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Clement. All in favor? And that's carried. Thanks, Sherry. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna have to get a motion to.
So Josh, I'll have to connect with you in a bit, okay? I can ask Travis to come in. if he's
Okay,
available.
so I'm gonna.
Thank you. Okay, so motion.
I'm gonna look for a motion to go into closed session under section 239(2)B for personal matters about identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and section 239(2)K, a position, a plan, procedure, criteria, or instructions to be applied to any negotiations carried, and section 239(2)E for litigation and potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals. So a motion to go into closed, moved by Councillor Clements, second by Deputy Mayor Webb. All in. Okay, so.
Recognition words.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get Sherry back in.
Okay.
Oh.
It's not just for information, it's on the
What's
website.
it about? The date is the date.
Yeah,
What's
it's
the
about
date?
the date and the location.
Oh,
So if council's okay with it, we can just pass it.
Where's the date and location?
Usually we have.
September 20.
We need to pass it because it's going out in the newsletter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Thursday.
September
It's,
25th.
it's not an option.
So the date is Thursday, September 25th
At the
at the Legion at 7 o'clock. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, so a motion to approve the recommendation, moved by Councillor Clement, second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried,
perfect, okay.
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Oh, wait a minute. He's got two of them here.
No,
What's
she,
the humble beginnings?
That was the other option for 5,000.
Yeah, why would you pay 5,000?
Yeah,
What's this one?
And moving on,
okay,
Okay, we're not doing humble beginnings, right?
No.
Okay.
okay, so the next item on here is the deposit return.
Yeah, yes, through you, Mayor Martin. So we did advertise, staff did advertise the deposit return program. We did not receive any applicants. So the suggestion here is that we re-advertise and change some of the wording. In it, there is a requirement to provide insurance, and we are getting feedback that some of the local volunteer groups are struggling to accommodate that request. So we can change the wording in the agreement to include a waiver instead of insurance requirement. And that should make it easier for groups to apply and be part of the program.
Okay, Jerry, you had your hand up?
yep, through your chair, I think if we do one more advertising, we get no submission, I would like to make a motion, we simply cancel the program.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Then we'll have to just make sure that they're not going in the recycles, because then we pay for it at the other end. So they can't go in the recycle. So that's gonna be our next thing. So hopefully somebody
Yeah.
does take it.
Yeah, I would suggest, let's do the ad.
Yeah, I talked to the school group last night and they said that would really help. So, okay,
And sorry, yeah, we're in open, but anyways, when we just got brought up the other day. I know that one of the groups that uses the past has been minor hockey,
Mhm.
but I'm told that they haven't reapplied and I just inquiring as to if they weren't reapplying because they figured that they already had it, so they weren't eligible to reapply. But I said if we're not getting any responses, maybe we can reach out to some of the organizations that have used it in the past to say nobody else is doing this. If you would like to do it again, it's here for you to do, right? So
yeah,
So,
okay.
motion to re-advertise.
So motion to re-advertise, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb and second by Councillor Clement. All in favor?
Whoa,
What?
sorry, I made the motion in the beginning. Is that off the table or I didn't get a seconder? I'm sorry, I'm a little confused here.
Sorry, I didn't realize it was a motion, Jerry.
Yeah, I made a motion to approve the advertising, and if we get no returns,
Okay.
to cancel the program. If I can't get a seconder, then I'm fine. We can go with the second, but let's deal with one at a time
Thank you, Jerry.
for my benefit.
Okay, so moved by Jerry, that we advertise and then if we don't get anybody, we pull it off. Okay,
No.
is there a seconder? Is there a seconder? No seconder.
That's fine.
Okay.
At least we're
Okay.
dealing with it.
Yeah,
Just one question, would that be open for other committees? Maybe policing committee needs
Oh,
to
yeah.
make some money. How
Yeah.
about the fishing derby down there? You need to raise some money for that.
any group that's willing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Youth
Yeah.
club.
Volunteer.
And I don't think there was ever specifics put around it in terms of it wasn't just for sports groups.
No.
no,
It's for any.
I think just people maybe kind of like you said, jump to that conclusion but yeah, no, any local HPM group, right?
Yeah.
That's willing to do that, then that's extra fundraising money available for them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
like the Lions did it when it was just our first one and it wasn't even set up as good as it is now.
Right, so are you taking it, do you need a truck to take it to, like, are we taking the bottles?
Yeah, they do all the sorting.
They do everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All
I
right,
think
thanks.
that's the problem, isn't it? It become a lot of work it's a lot of work. And I
It's
think that's
hours.
why the organizations aren't reapplying. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work and it's dirty, very dirty.
So Buckhorn does it, but they have a kind of like the Norwood Minor Sports. Well, they have a Buckhorn Minor Sports. So it's a group that does it. So they have a lot of help. But it's successful there, but it is a lot of work. So anyways, the motion was on the floor. We have a seconder. All in favor? And that's carried. So, okay. We're gonna move into correspondence. And we have a action item here from the Lions with regards to their $200 per month. The negotiated payment, but with the arena closed, it's making it hard, so.
Yeah,
Right.
just sorry, trying to get up there. Lease payments waived to the end of the calendar year, so yeah, I'll just make a motion that we move ahead with the ask from the Lions Club.
Okay,
So which would be waiving the lease payments to the end of the calendar 2025 year,
yeah,
seeing that we've pretty much shut down their
yeah,
one money-making space, right? So
yeah.
Definitely.
Is the request not to waive it for the complete year of 2025?
Yeah,
Through
sorry.
Okay.
Through you, Mayor Martin. So the letter reads, I'm formally submitting a request that the lease payments be waived through the calendar year 2025. We will have no method to rent or donate the use of the hall during renovations, and portions mentioned above would only be used for the purpose of our members' meetings, providing that it's safe to do so.
I think that's fine.
yeah, it's just till the end of the year.
To the end of the year, yeah, because
Well, I'm sorry, through your chair. Is it January till December of 2025, or is it from July to December in 2025? Can I get clarity on the motion?
Through you, Mayor Martin, I would suggest that we specify that in the
Yes.
motion.
So it would be from today's date moving forward. So
Okay.
So they're
So they're
paid
paid
through
till the end of
June
June.
30th. So,
Okay,
so yeah,
July first.
Yeah.
for the balance of the
Yep.
year.
Yep. Thanks for the clarification on that, because yeah, the word through. To me, I waved through as of now. Whereas throughout would have been all, but good point, Councillor Doherty.
Let's
I
not
see where you're coming from.
I have a follow-up question, Chair.
For the balance.
I think that we should probably just close the complete hall and the den, and maybe approach the stone hall so that they can have their meetings there, because they did mention about safety and who's going to make the decision on that and when. So it would be, to me, to clarity to simply say, well, let's close it down until, you know, the renovations. I agree with their point. They aren't getting any revenue. But if it's not safe, then we should just simply close it down and see if we can accommodate them a meeting in another place until it is safe. Just my opinion.
Yeah, so it is closed already, and they were made aware that they're not allowed back in. So
It doesn't sound like that in their letter, though, that the den is open.
They know. So go ahead, Kathy.
Through you, Mayor Martin, through you, Mayor Martin, they're aware, and they're going to make a donation and use the basement of the United Church. It's a donation.
Excuse me again, Chair. We got people making deals and understanding what happens. I just read the correspondence.
No, they worked through Josh. Josh and them have even been kicked out of there too. So nobody's allowed in there. Josh has a little area that he can use, and we're trying to work with them to try and find a space for them. But they were notified last week by the construction company and Josh that they aren't allowed in the building.
Okay, so this letter
Not deals.
That. Sorry?
That's probably what happened.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
the letter's
that's probably
crossed.
what happened.
Okay, no, I was just confused by the written matter and the discussion, because we seem to have deals going on all over, and I just needed clarity. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Okay, so
what was the motion
yeah,
again?
what's the motion here?
So the motion is to approve the waiving of the fees, the rental fee for the Lions Club, from July first to the end of the year, with no access to the building.
2025.
2025.
Yeah. So, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, we have a couple of items there for correspondence for information items. Is there anything you want to speak to? If not, I'll look for a motion to receive the balance of the correspondence. Moved by Councillor Clement, second by Deputy Mayor Webb. Jerry, did you have a question?
No, I raised my hand to make the motion, but it's already done, so that's fine. I just agree.
Bit of a delay. Okay, all in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Okay, I don't have any written notice of motion. Is there any oral notice of motion for today's meeting? Oh, sorry, I jumped over liaison report. Yeah, sorry about that. So moving into liaison reports, county update, was there anything there, Hart?
No, not today. We've been here too long. Well, I'll speak to the police board there in a minute, but
okay. Yeah, so the next things are Eastern Trails Alliance minutes from the April 10th meeting. Bev, do you have anything to add to that, or motion to receive?
No, they're doing their ride for Dad, trail ride. I think it's the 21st. They've sold they've sold 1,000 tickets, but then some people thought they bought tickets and they didn't, so they gave them the tickets. So it's over 1,000 riders is going to be there. They've got the band, another 1,000 trailers. I don't know, Tweed. It's down by the arena, I think, or down in that area. And yeah, they're very excited about it. Hopefully it works well for them.
Okay, the next items here are the Peterborough County OPP detachment budget.
yeah, I just there was some confusion around this last meeting, so I just included all the tables there in terms of the total cost that's coming to the municipality. And the reason I'm bringing this because it needs approval before it can go.
Okay.
We can move ahead with this. So if we could get this approved today, that would be fantastic. If there's any questions,
Any questions?
try to answer them.
Yeah. Go ahead,
It's $100 for each member that's on this board.
For
Is that how
members,
it goes?
yeah, well, not, so I'm a member, not elected officials. So,
Yeah.
the appointees, the provincial appointees,
in the cemetery. Right?
trying to think. There might only be, so it would be anybody that's not an elected official
Okay,
that sits there. So I'm thinking in our group, there might only be 2 or 3 there that are getting paid the 100, right?
Through you, Mayor Martin, just to add to those comments, it's the stipend is for community representatives and provincial appointees at $100 per meeting.
okay. And we have 2 from our community there?
As of right now, I don't think there's any from our community. Yeah,
No.
they haven't appointed them. There was a lady there for the first couple, Bev, as a provincial appointee, but I think she was a carryover from a
Okay.
previous one in Trent Lakes.
Yeah.
She's disappeared the last 2 meetings, so I don't know if she's coming back or
Okay, so-
they've switched, so.
There's all the different municipalities.
Yeah, there's
in this,
7
right?
of us.
So are we paying for the 2 that come from our community?
No, what we'd be doing is the 3 that come in, we're splitting the cost with the other 7 municipalities.
okay.
Paying them, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay, so
So,
then it's.
If there's 3 for the
divided.
300 for that meeting, that would be split between the 7, so it'd be
Okay.
$40 a meeting for each municipality.
Got it.
So we haven't had a provincial appointee since Shirley Patterson was on it.
Yeah.
That's how long ago it was, so.
And then just further to this, because I know another counselor had brought this up. I did bring it up last meeting. It will be brought up again next meeting, because although it is only $100, or in this case, $300. The point I raised along with some others on the committee was, if this is a provincial appointee, then probably the province should be paying for them.
Right.
So, as I said, it's not gonna be a big chunk of money. It's only 300, but we are chasing them to pay for these appointees, right? Whether we'll ever see that money. Flag or don't hold your breath.
Gary, you had your hand up?
That was one of my points that it's appointed by the government, they should pay. The second point is the $8,400. And maybe this is an unfair question to the police committee, but did the county reduce the representative that's getting paid the $8,400? Did they reduce his salary, or does he get paid his full salary plus the $8,400? And if I'm asking the wrong committee, maybe the representative that we have on the county could follow that up, because to me, it's a double dipping situation. And the second, going back to the first point of $100, it was one of the questions that I would have really liked to have asked our member of parliament when he was here, along with some other questions. But instead of that, we got a lecture and a history lesson. So I didn't get a chance to ask him then. So I'm glad that you're following it up, Deputy Mayor Webb. Thank you.
So through you, that did come up in terms of, I just blanked out. It's been a long day.
The staff member.
Yeah.
I have my meeting with him tomorrow night. I'll ask.
No.
No, but I have-
With the 8,400, but.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's been a long day. Okay, and if you need something asked, I do have my mayor's meeting tomorrow night. I can ask him, or we can send the phone number out and you phone him and ask him. So,
Oh, no.
I have
this
no
is-
intentions of reaching out to him again after what transpired at the council meeting when he attended.
I apologize. The comment was around the pay for the county employee. That was brought up during budget discussions as well, Councillor Doherty. The way it was settled was it was seen as what he's doing for this committee is over and above what he's doing at the county and being paid for at the county. Whether or not I completely agree with that, that's a different matter, but that's what was decided. So this is seen as work over and above what he's being paid for while working at the county.
That's unadulterated nonsense, because the meetings are during the day. They're not 7 till 9 at night. They're 1 to 3 during the day. So I respectfully disagree, and then thank you for bringing it up anyway. It's just another one of those things.
so for today, the budget needs to be, well, we don't have, like, it should be passed.
Yeah, you don't have to, but
Yeah, somebody wants,
this is it.
Yeah, so through you, Mayor Martin, the request today is to approve the stipends for the community representatives and the provincial appointees at $100 per meeting.
That I can do.
Okay.
Yes,
You
that
remember
I can
that?
do. It's the same as us getting paid when we go to meeting.
Yes, I know, but how many people are on this board? Can they add 20 people?
No, so I think right now there's 7 of us elected officials. We don't get paid.
No, I know, yeah.
Yeah, what you'd be paying is 3, and as of right now, I've only seen 1 sitting at the table. I don't even
Okay.
think the other 2 have been appointed, so.
That's fine.
So, okay, second by Bev. Any other questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, and the next item on here is the Crow Valley Conservation Authority, and I'm just letting everyone know that Tim Piddock, after 37 years, is retiring as general manager. He came on there as general manager when I first got on council, and he's been there ever since and done a great job. And it's going to be interesting to see how we fill the position. We're working on that now. So, but anyways, we're doing a send off at our meeting on Thursday. We have our meeting on Thursday, and we're going to have, and we'll be able to wish him the best of luck there. So
June 27th.
and June 27th, there is a, like a, what do you call it?
Yeah, a retirement celebration.
Yeah, so it's like a drop-in thing. If anybody wants, that anybody knew him, wants to go in and, wish him the best. That's what time?
1 till 4
1 to 4
in
on
Marmor.
June 27th. So that's his last day. So, okay. That's all I have under liaison report. So a motion to receive the liaison report. Moved by Hart, second by Kathy, all in favor. That's carried. Okay, like I say, we don't have any written notice motion. We're gonna move into other business. Is there anything?
Just the draw.
Tell me to go.
Oh, right.
Yes, please.
Your turn, Michigan. Leah's turn, isn't it?
What?
To draw.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Excellent.
Yeah, you can't.
Who turned the air conditioning on? Somebody?
Yeah.
Was it Kim?
That's
What was it?
reason for here.
Is that you?
Oh, my God.
No, but it's cold. Jeez.
I checked. I was over in the hall and nothing was that. That before.
That's not my cup.
No, I'm like.
Leah's turn.
Oh, is it Leah's turn?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've had a terrific 2 weeks. We have 76 entries in this particular day's contest draw. Our top 3 businesses were Foodland once again this time. Our second is High Springs Trading Post, which is fantastic. And number 3 is Woody Burger and Pizzeria. The total combined spending was $4,628. And the winner is. Thank you, Leah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That team player, Leah.
Yeah.
Winner is Helen Mose. That's great. Helen Mose being spelled HelenMoase. Helen Mose is the winner. And they've won a $75 gift certificate to the Belmont Bakery. Oh, excuse me, to the Pharmasafe. This week. So that's all good. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, very. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
How many power?
yeah, that's it. Only a 4-hour computer. Okay, so we have,
At least get a gift card.
we have one bylaw 2025-046, being a bylaw to amend the township, Belmont-Methuen, a comprehensive zoning bylaw. Somebody want to move that? Moved by Kathy, second by Hart. All in favor? Carried. And next, we have the confirming bylaw. Moved by Kathy, second by Bev. All in favor? Carried. And next we have the motion to adjourn, moved by Hart, second by Jerry. Yay. All in favor? Carried.
Thank you.